Hudson County View live and uncut, and I'm your host, the reflection of perfection, and your number one selection, John R. Heinis, here to talk the latest and greatest in Hudson County news, as we do every week. So, the June 2nd Democratic primary is a way off, but we're already getting started for the May 12th races, the nonpartisan races. Of course, the main one being in Bayonne, and that's going to be pitting former Council President Sharon Ashdodrowski against Councilman-at-Large Lloyd Booker, and local developer Lance Lucarelli also filed with the New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission. Hasn't really done much since then, so unclear if he's going to run a full-fledged campaign, if he runs at all. But right now, it's clear that Ashdodrowski and Booker are going to be going head-to-head, and Ashdodrowski made her candidacy official last night, so we're going to chat a little bit about that. Obviously, this past week was a big week in South Hudson because we had the inauguration of new Hoboken Mayor Emily Jabbour, who was kind enough to join us last week, as well as Jersey City Mayor James Solomon. And of course, yesterday was the inauguration of Mikey Sherrill as the governor, the 57th governor of the state of New Jersey. And she's obviously a former congresswoman, won in a large Democratic field and then a large plurality in November against Jack Ciattarelli, the three-time Republican nominee. So there's a whole lot more going on. We got lots of legislation going through. We have some reorg meetings to discuss, but we're going to parse through that and a whole lot more right after these words from our sponsors.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants. All major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View live and uncut, John R. Heinis. So there's so much to go through, but let's start with the new leadership teams in Jersey City and Hoboken, specifically on their respective city councils. So in Jersey City, the new council president is Denise Ridley. The council president pro tempore, which for all intents and purposes is the vice president, is Frank Educational Gilmore, and he's the Ward F representative. Of course, Ridley represents Ward A. So that was a reorganization meeting that was a little before the inauguration on Thursday, and both were unanimous votes. And the only other thing really worth mentioning there was they approved a temporary budget, which was a decent chunk of change there. That was $220,434,143. And, you know, there were several council members that didn't really like the process, felt it was a bit rushed, but nonetheless, everybody voted for it. And it was a relatively short meeting, maybe hour and change, which is, by Jersey City standards, very, very fast. And so then just down the road in the Mile Square City, we once again have Council President Ruben Ramos, role he served in many times over the years. And we also now have 5th Ward Councilman Phil Cohen as the Vice President. Ramos represents the 4th Ward, as I'm sure you guys know. And the only real entertainment, if you will, and you know, for those of you that watched the inauguration, we saw new Councilman-at-Large Steve Firestone joke that he would be happy to see this council be extremely boring and no longer a form of political entertainment for folks. So we'll see how that works out. But at this particular reorganization meeting, interestingly, for Vice President, 6th Ward Councilwoman Diane Imus nominated 2nd Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher for VP, and that failed 5-4. And then the second vote for Cohen went through also by 5-4, inverse tally, of course. And in that instance, Fisher, of course, voted for herself, as did Imus, 1st Ward Councilman Paul Presenzano, and 3rd Ward Councilman Mike Russo. And then Cohen obviously voted for himself with the support of Firestone, Councilwoman-at-Large Caitlin Layson, Ramos, and himself. So interesting wrinkle there. Obviously, Cohen was a big Jabbour supporter, and he was also a big supporter of former Mayor Ravi Bala, who of course now our Assemblyman in 32nd Legislative District. Ramos has been against that administration, that contingency in the past, but it looks like they're having some kind of an olive branch here to try to work together. So what else? So, I mean, there's just so many things that happened in this past week. Let's talk a little bit about what happened with Governor Phil Murphy before he left office. And one thing that we're going to talk about here is payroll tax collection. This bill introduced by State Senator Raj Mukherjee. And, you know, that's something that they've had a problem with since its inception. I guess that was about 6 years ago, maybe 7 at this point. And finally, this bill is supposed to do that. So basically, he sums it up, I think, pretty well. In Jersey City, every dollar for our public schools matters. By letting cities have access to the state's existing wage and withholding data, this legislation helps protect school funding by ensuring local payroll taxes are collected fairly and consistently. This bill will help Jersey City verify compliance with the municipal payroll tax on companies and identify those employers who are not reporting at all. And of course, this applies statewide. They mentioned Newark as well, and this could apply to any city that has over 200,000 residents. So definitely an interesting thing. And there's some actions Murphy took that not everybody's happy about. We'll talk about that later. But speaking of education, I'm fortunate today to be joined with New Jersey City University President Andrés Acebo. So we're going to sit down with him right after this break.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John Heinis, and as I mentioned a few moments ago, today my guest is New Jersey City University President Andrés Acebo. Andrés, thanks for coming in.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So obviously, we could probably be here 3 hours talking about all the stuff that's going on at NJCU just the past couple of months. But obviously the big one is we're just talking about Governor Murphy on his way out. He signed that merger bill with Cade University, hopefully to make Cade and NJCU Cade Jersey City. So I mean, there's a lot there, but just tell me the latest and where you think this is headed.
I think it's obviously on its face it's historic, but it's so meaningful. When you think of like this semester and this in 2026, NJCU celebrating its 99th year. And folks are sometimes quick to forget that history, that almost century of existence and service to this community has invited a lot of revolution and evolution of the way NJCU relates to its community and the service that it provides. You know, in 1927, when this place, still anchored on the west side of Jersey City, rose and that Gothic tower took shape, began as a teacher's college, New Jersey Normal School. A few years later, it was rebranded and renamed and its charter refined and became New Jersey's Teachers College at Jersey City. In the 50s, it became Jersey City State College. And it wasn't until the late 90s, 1998, when it became New Jersey City University. So when you think on the eve of its centennial, this fifth evolution, you know, names have changed, but the purpose has endured. And I think that that's what we're doubling down, and very grateful to the legislature, to our partners at King University, our Board of Trustees, and in particular the president of King University, Dr. Lamont Repollet, first-generation scholar himself, former commissioner of education, the fidelity to that mission on our campus and what we're trying to usher in, I think will be a game changer for higher education in New Jersey, and a boon for public higher education in Hudson County in particular.
Sure. Now, when we're talking about Governor Murphy, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, over $44 million
Yes.
in grant funding specifically from the from the New Jersey Office of the Secretary of Higher Education.
Right.
So, just tell us, like, for the students, faculty, staff, tangible results of what this money will be used for.
Yeah, hard-fought, hard-earned, for decades, chronically underinvested campus infrastructure. Deferred maintenance plagues a lot of college campuses, especially public universities. And those are the indirect costs that get passed through to our students, right? Tuition covers more than just payroll.
Yeah.
But it's a generational investment, and I don't say that lightly, in our infrastructure. It's one of the largest single appropriations in our infrastructure in recent memory. I would argue going back at least 20 plus years to our campus. And over the last couple of years, we've whittled down a lot of that deferred maintenance, which had ballooned to close to $100 million. Very steadfast budgetary practices, reinvesting into our physical infrastructure. We've chipped away considerably at that. We've probably spent over $25 million in just the last 3 years in enhancing that. When all is said and done, we stand to have been appropriated about $50 million towards deferred maintenance. So everything from classroom refreshing, improving student-facing experiences, and then the not so headline-taking necessary things like improving the roof, historic designated roofs and shingles, and health and safety on our campus to really make it a robust and vibrant space for learning and teaching.
Got it. Okay. Now, obviously when you came in, the deficit was quite large, to say it nicely, politely.
Yeah.
But then a lot of people have a lot of different opinions on this, as you well know. Some people are looking at it as a state bailout. I'm sure you don't look at it that way.
Sure.
But when you look at the deficit from when you came in to where we are now and how the merger comes into play, how do you see all of that?
I think it's certainly not a bailout. I see it as a strategic investment from the state to an anchor institution in the state's second largest city, right? One that overwhelmingly and predominantly serves working class first generation students. And so I'm obviously biased, not just because I have the privilege of having the responsibility of leading this campus in this chapter in its history, but as a direct beneficiary of it, right? Like all
Certainly.
my school teachers growing up went to Jersey City State. My loved ones attended that institution. So I've seen in real tangible ways the promise of this campus be personified in the lives of the people that I get to interact with and who have poured so much of themselves into me. But it's historic, and to that I look at the progress we've made meaningful, right? A return on the investment from the state of New Jersey, getting upgraded multiple times by Fitch and Moody's for the first time in 20 plus years by our institution. Fitch just most recently, for the first time in over a decade, moved us to investment grade.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
Those aren't things that are achieved because you charm rating agencies, right? That's a lot of vetting and scrutiny. And all of that facilitated this historic merger with King University. There's a lot more work to be done, right? There are a lot of uncertainties in higher education, right? Macro, beyond of what happens in New Jersey federally. Funding streams are uncertain, the enrollment demographics are changing, the disruption of AI, all those things changed the way that you build a sustainable financial model. But when all is said and done, the work of the last couple of years has facilitated this merger to create, at the end of the day, when this merger is complete, King University and King Jersey City being part of it will become the state's second largest public university system. An R2 university coming to Jersey City, right? At the same time that you're having SciTech City breaking ground, right? The partnerships that we fortified with Jersey City Public Schools, Hudson County Schools of Technology, North Hudson, Bayonne, all those things will be enriched by an expanded academic offering, a global network, right? Beyond King's campus in China, right? It's got deep ties kind of in global studies. And I can't think of a better marriage there than you're leveraging that level of resources in a community that already has a global outlook, right? When more than half of this county's population is foreign born, right? That brings challenges, right? But it also brings a lot of vibrancy and dynamism. And I think that that's what the state invested in. And I'm very proud that I was able to amplify that in our tenure to really solidify this place for its second century.
Got it. All right, we're going to unpack that a little more right after
Sure.
this break. Mr. President, folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its two newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. Still John R. Heinis, still here with NJCU President Andrés Acebo. So I don't know if there's a conclusive answer to this, but you know, we're going to be Kane, Jersey City, so why not Rutgers, or why not Montclair or Seton Hall? Like, how do we end up with Kane?
With Kane?
Yeah.
That's a great question, and I think, like, I'm biased because I was in the room, right, when these things were done, and deliberated. When you centered our students, it was almost impossible to identify a different partner, right? The demographic profile of our students are very, very similar. There's a deep commitment to moonshot equity initiatives around student success. The reach, they were on the precipice of becoming an R2. And I think leadership matters as well, right? And I think, and our colleagues across other institutions are doing wonderful things. Things that are worthy of emulation even on our own campus. And to that I say there are things that we've accomplished over the last couple of years that a lot of our partners are somehow getting wise to and also replicating on their own campuses. I think a broadened institution that already has experience managing a system that is deeply entrenched and rooted as anchors in their community, whether it's Kane Ocean or Kane Skylands or their Wenju campus, the proximity to Jersey City, that geography, I think that entrepreneurial spirit of serving a predominant working class, first generation student population, I think seals our shared history. We also both began as teachers' colleges, right? And an evolution there. There's a lot of fidelity there. And I think when you look at it also, like just sending receipts, like a lot of Hudson County students, if they're not coming to NJCU, they're going to Kane University. So that proximity of being able to afford that opportunity to our students. Kane is also the most affordable public university in the state of New Jersey, right? Our tuitions are now pegged to one another, so we hold that distinction in tandem. We share a commitment to reciprocity and flexibility for our students whose academic journeys are not linear, right? Like the vast majority of our students might begin as first-time, full-time freshmen.
Sure.
Life happens. You drop to part-time status. That amenability, right, to meeting our students where they are, where the focus of putting them in career trajectories, and that's important, right? So beyond the R2 designation, all those things, there's a deep commitment to upward mobility and social mobility that both institutions have deep ties to, and it just made sense. There's a shared vision there of like building something. Once you get over the hump of making it, right, and creating it, that you're ushering in something that's built to last.
Yeah, okay. Now, you know, of course, we've heard a lot about merger, you know, Kane, Jersey City, and all that stuff that, you know, you and I have discussed. But I think a lot of people like haven't really unpacked it. Like, how many programs are there going to be? How many students?
Sure.
You know, what programs are going to go away? What's tuition going to cost? So can you give us some numbers to, you know, kind of just extrapolate that for me?
Sure. So, like I said, Kane has the lowest, is the most affordable public university. So that tuition will be mirrored on our campus. So students that choose Kane, Jersey City, and our Jersey City campus in particular as their home, will be afforded the most affordable college public higher education experience available in our state. So that's incredibly important and something that is deeply tied to me as probably one of the only college presidents still paying their student loans, right? Right. So that hits home. An enhanced academic portfolio. When all is said and done, close to, if not a little over 200 distinct degree programs. That's an ad, including enhanced programming. For instance, Kane has an ABCSB accredited School of Business. New Jersey City University does not. So that's an enhancement there. They have a School of Architecture, right? That's something that is particularly important and a boon in a revitalized, developed city like Jersey City and in Hudson County. A public administration program, right? Really with a commitment here of like we can elevate people in place and community to be civic participants and find ways to contribute to the public good. There's going to be an enhancement there. And I think there's also a wraparound focus on support services to our students that no institution can deliver on its own. Being coalesced and consolidated and by virtue of that enhanced, our students are going to be able to benefit from significantly more wraparound services from a network of services across campuses. So if there's a particular field of study or a particular professor you want to study with, you're not confined anymore to just a physical campus in Jersey City, right? You'll be able to avail yourself of an entire university system.
That's cool. Now, you know, during the legislative process with the merger bill, when it was going through the Assembly and the Senate, we heard some concerns from some union members that said, you know, tenure not going to be recognized. There's going to be a lot of layoffs and or firings. I mean, can you give us any data, numbers on that?
It's premature to talk about those things. I will say that tenure is honored and reflected in the legislation. It's an iterative process, right? The truth is that, but for this merger, New Jersey City University was not poised to have a successful future, and that's not a reduction on what's been accomplished over the last couple of years. It's a reality, right? There are macro and micro constraints facing higher education. You're going to see more of a trend here of consolidation and mergers, I think, in the years to come. I think that there's also a moral imperative beyond a business imperative of it. And what you're building now is a unified university system that will leverage our geography to meeting our students where it is, but do things in a much more efficient way that for every dollar that might be spent on just administrative overhead will be redeployed to student success initiatives.
Very good.
You know, our margins are narrow as they are as, you know, one of the most vulnerable public universities in the state for many years and decades. So this solidifies a long trajectory of sustainability.
Very good. Mr. President, thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
very much,
in.
man.
Best
Pleasure.
of luck.
Thank
Hope
you.
to see you soon.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We're not quite done yet. We'll be right back.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants. All major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-27.
Hudson County View live at Uncut. John R. Heinis. So the biggest topic of discussion, probably locally, at least in the past week, is all about U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Of course, all of you know them as ICE. And, of course, a lot of controversy coming out of Minneapolis, but that has come closer to home, and people in Jersey City, Hoboken, and the surrounding communities here are taking notice. And you could see that first evidenced by what was said at last week's Hudson County Board of Commissioners meeting, Jenny Davis, the Chief of Staff to Hudson County Executive Craig Guy, he read a statement. And of course, this is all about the ICE agent Jonathan Good fatally shooting Renee Good. And, obviously there's been a lot of camera angles released. A lot of people have opined about what happened. And it's obviously a hot topic here in the whole state of New Jersey and really the whole country. So that's why we had this protest at Jersey City Hall on January 11th. And so with that said, without further ado, she read that by now we've all seen the tragic events in many American cities, including Minneapolis, Chicago, and towns right here in New Jersey. The New Jersey Attorney General guidelines outline the Immigrant Trust Directive, prohibit law enforcement from cooperating with federal immigration authorities. As County Executive, I have standing agreement with Hudson County Sheriff's Office to alert my administration and the Board of Commissioners if federal immigration authorities are conducting operations in our county parks and facilities. All county officials must and will work together to ensure the safety of Hudson County residents. So this went on for quite a bit. And, it's just something that has really started to permeate a lot in Jersey City. Actually, if you watch those inaugurations of Emily Jabor and James Solomon in Hoboken and Jersey City, respectively, they both said that we're going to continue to stand up for immigrant communities. And you heard Mayor Jabor say it last week right here in the studio. And they're still sanctuary cities. They're both still being sued by the U.S. Department of Justice. And both mayors, new mayors, have said they're going to stand tall. So obviously, I think that's worth mentioning. And, when we talk about that, we have to talk about what happened with the Immigrant Trust Act, as Jenny Davis, noted at that meeting. So Governor Phil Murphy had this Immigrant Trust Act. It was 3 separate bills that would protect immigrants in the state of New Jersey from ICE actions, long story short. So he did a sort of split the baby moment, if you will. And what I mean by that is that there were 3 bills, as I just said, and he signed the Safe Communities Act, but the 2 related bills were vetoed. So a very interesting turn of events that most people, certainly including myself, were not expecting. So today we reaffirm our longstanding commitment to ensuring the people of New Jersey, particularly our immigrant families, are safe, secure, and supported in navigating their daily lives easily and confidently. Public spaces such as houses of worship, schools, hospitals, and courthouses are places of trust that should welcome and safeguard every member of society. Whether you're praying in a church, studying in a school, receiving medical care at a hospital, or seeking legal relief, no one should live in fear or uncertainty or be deterred from seeking essential services due to their immigration status. So obviously, it's pretty clear what the Safe Communities Act does. The other 2 was the Privacy Protection Act, as well as the Strengthening Trust Act, which were pocket vetoed, which basically just meant he left them on his desk, those pieces of legislation, until they expired. So, and given that he was leaving office, there wasn't a lot of time to work with. So, Privacy Protection Act would have prevented agencies and healthcare facilities from collecting or sharing sensitive data, like immigration status, birthplace, social security number. And he said that this bill could have cost the state billions in federal funding. And he explained, I was hopeful that we would be able to get this personal data privacy protection bill across the finish line during my final days of my term. I strongly support the rationale behind the legislation. Unfortunately, upon further review of the legislation, we discovered a drafting oversight that will create significant complications when it comes to advancing our shared goal of protecting New Jersey's immigrant communities. He didn't elaborate. And the Strengthening Trust Act would have codified that Immigrant Trust Directive, but Murphy said that would have removed an exception to the directive's limitations on cooperation with federal immigration authorities. That was a bit technical, so not going to get too into it. And it would have added funding appropriated to state, county, or municipal law enforcement agencies to the types of assistance law enforcement may not provide to federal immigration authorities. And he said, given that this has already cleared the courts and has been deemed legally permissible, to go back in and codify it could bring this back to the courts and could actually have a chilling effect, essentially, of course, paraphrasing there. And immigrant groups were not particularly happy with him. For example, I spoke with New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice Executive Director Amy Torres, a Jersey City resident. She said Murphy knows these vetoes are a stain on his legacy. That's why he had to wait until the last morning of his successor's inauguration to do anything about the protections that have sat in the legislature for years. So, with that in mind, Ravi Bala and Katie Brennan, who represent the 32nd Legislative District in the State Assembly, came out just this morning to say they would help pass this bill when it comes back up. And we heard from Brennan, and she just summed it up real easy, I think. I'm going to sign on to these bills the moment they're reintroduced, and I'm going to fight like hell to get them passed. This is the bare minimum we can do to protect people from ICE. And like I said at the top of the program, former Bayonne Council President Sharon Ashdodrowski announced she'd be running for mayor a second time and unveiled 2 of her running mates. And so those two running mates, because we're short on time, are Mark Patino and Mariam Salama. They'll both be running for at-large, and of course, all three at-large seats will be on the line in the May 12th nonpartisan municipal elections in the Peninsula City. And just very, very quickly, the new mayors are already off to work, as you would hope they would be. Arlene Canones Perez is new corporation counsel in Hoboken. That's following unanimous approval by the city council. And on top of that, Hoboken to join the Mayors Against Illegal Guns coalition, and that's something she said she'd do during inauguration, so not a shock there. And also making good on a campaign pledge, Jersey City Mayor James Solomon signed an executive order reestablishing a traffic enforcement division for the city's police department on Friday. With that, folks, we're going to call it a week. We'll see you next time.